So we're going to start off with obviously the most important position on the team, and that's quarterback. And the narrative that's starting to get around, Marco, is Trey Lance is a bad decision maker. Set the record straight, man. Is this an accurate depiction of Trey Lance, or is this just fake news?
This is for sure fake news, 100%. We people could go back to watching his college tape, his first two games last year, this game this year. There hasn't been no bad decisions that were actually made. Now, what we're seeing from Trey Lance is even the interception he throws, people would say that's a bad decision. Actually, it is not a bad decision. The route is open. The bad throw is what it should be called. It's not a bad decision. He's trying to hold that safety who's robbing, right? This safety
Mm-hmm.
is playing a technique where he's able to do whatever he feels. So he goes one way. Trey's trying to hold him in the middle of the field. Trey needs to trust his arm a little bit more and just let that ball rip. Like, to be
Right.
honest, that is not a bad decision. It's more
He
so
just
a
held it a
bad.
little too long, right? He held it a little too long, and that's what gave the safety enough time or the linebacker enough time to get to the ball.
Yeah, so it's more so bad execution. So, and then people were trying to label his throw to Tyler Croft a bad decision. That's a beautiful decision. He just missed the damn throw.
All
Like, I don't
right.
I don't get what's going on. I see a lot of people saying he's bailing from the pocket. Did y'all not see the pocket this week? Our left and right tackle were both getting work. He's stepping up in the pocket. One of them, I would say, was a bad decision to step up into the pocket, but not a bad decision in terms of being a decision maker. He stepped up into the pocket, stepped right into Trent Williams' man as Trent Williams had him locked up, and that just comes with time and playing with these offensive linemen, understanding what you need to do in certain situations, especially down in the red zone. More so, he's gonna need a belt out of there instead of stepping up into the pocket. But I definitely don't see a bad decision maker from everything I've seen from college tape. His first two games last year, this game, I didn't see any bad decisions really. Um, what people were trying to say is more so he's not executing what he needs to do. At the end of the day, you could say these throws are bad decisions, but I don't see it. And you're getting a lot of these Monday morning quarterbacks. You're getting a lot of these old talking heads, coaches who want to become relevant again. Their names haven't been mentioned in the media in a very damn long time. So what are they doing? They're smart. They know the 49ers are a big conversation to talk about. So they're putting Trey Lance's name in their mouths, not realizing they probably didn't even watch that game, and just seeing the stat line that he had an interception and saying, yeah, he's a bad decision maker. Terrible stuff.
Yeah, and I agree with you totally. I mean, the decision, you could tell that he's reading the field. Going through his progressions the right way. I actually think he's he's better than what I expected in the pocket as far as he's doing kind of stuff that's a little bit elite, like swim moves, like stepping up. You did mention the one where he maybe couldn't have, but for the most part, he's feeling the pressure and moving in the right direction. It's just he doesn't like it. He can't disappear, right? At the end of the day, like there's only so much he could do. One thing though, Marco, I think that I am noticing, and this is something that anybody who's reasonable could understand. This isn't a kid that threw the ball a lot in college, right? So you can tell where he hesitates the most, Marco, is on any type of passing route that timing is involved. And that's where I feel like he's struggling the most. Like there was in the red zone, there was a play where the first option was an in and out to Jennings, and he hesitated on that throw. Even he had that throw, if he would have just been decisive, and that probably could have been a touchdown at the worst, an incompletion. But it seems like that's where he's hesitating the most because he doesn't have reps, right? He's gonna get better as he gets more reps. But even the interception, it was the right decision, but he hesitated. So the timing was off, and that's what led to the interception. So what can you talk about just that? Is that accurate to say that he does struggle a little bit on the timing passes, or am I overblowing that as well?
So I wouldn't say for sure he's struggling on timing routes, but I think it's more so on trusting his arm in the NFL, right? These guys are bigger, they're faster. So the timing is a little faster timing. So I think it's more so just trusting his arm talent at this level. As you can see, um, one of the throws he made to Ross Dwelly, he trusted his arm, and I think that's where we're going to start seeing a little bit more with him because the throw that he should have hit to Jennings, it would have been a nice throw. It would have been on literally as he's breaking. But that's more for me. That's more so not trusting his arm to fit it in, because if I'm correct, it's the throw you're talking about in the red zone, actually in the
Correct.
end zone, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's more so him seeing, okay, this team is so good that if I make this throw and it's a little bit late, or my arm isn't good enough and it's intercepted, now I'm putting this team in a situation to lose, rather than if I'm smart with the ball and I make sure someone is 100% wide open. Well, that's a wide open throw in the NFL. And I think the reps and not allowing him to get all those reps last year kind of hurts now, right? Because now
Right.
he's learning what an open guy in the NFL is. And if we look at what he's capable of doing with arm talent, that's the throw he's going to be making in at least in a couple games, right? I
Right.
expect 2 to 3 games he's making that throw because he knows that's a wide open throw. So I think it's more so just trusting his arm rather than the timing route. Because if we look at a couple games last year, including in the preseason, he hit some timing throws. So I don't think it's necessarily to do with 100% timing. I think it's more so trusting his arm.
That makes a lot of sense. And like you said, there's one thing to see it like on the game film. There's another thing to like see it live and have enough confidence in yourself and trusting yourself, like you put it, to actually do that. But one thing, Fernando is jumping in. He says, Sunil, what can you say? Trey is critical of himself. That's one thing that really I gives me a lot of hope, is he's taking accountability. He went on that. He didn't shy away from throwing the blame on himself. And he has that kind of like photographic memory. It reminds me of like that one famous interview that LeBron James did where he like recollected this play from like start to finish, like this whole series. And the fact that he was calling out where his mistakes were, the throws he missed, the decisions, like even the interception, what he was trying to do, and that he has that kind of calculated mindset, to me shows that he's capable and he's smart enough to be able to understand what's going on. I agree with you. I think it's more about just the confidence in himself to believe that he could do it. And once that happens, Marco, we're going to see a completely different quarterback, I believe.
Yeah, it's just the reps and the allowing him to do it. I think the him being critical of himself is so important, not only for his growth as a quarterback, but for this entire organization. Because if we look back, and I hate to compare the two quarterbacks, but if we look back to the last quarterback that we had, right, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Garoppolo would constantly say stuff like "we lost" or "we didn't do enough." The offense didn't do enough, right? But instead, Trey Lance is taking it upon himself, saying, "No, the defense did enough for me. I didn't do enough. I have the ball in my hands every single play. It is my responsibility to do good for this team." So that's something that haven't seen in a very long time for the 49ers. And I think for me, it's one of those things that it's not only showing his leadership, but it's showing who the kid is, right? He's so young, he's so talented, he understands that the expectations are high, and he knows his expectations are, guess what? They're higher than every 49er fan has for him. So I think that's a very, very positive sign to see how critical he is to go on top of the IQ he has. Because he named off right away, right after the game. 5 plays. Boom. Those are the 5 plays that the reason why we lost the game. 5 plays that I want back, that I would have done something different and we would have won.
Yeah, and I mean the accountability shows a lot of leadership, right? Because that's like one of the knocks. He wasn't given a captaincy and all this kind of stuff. Just because you don't have the C on your jersey doesn't mean you're still not a leader on this team. Clearly, his position gives him that leadership role, and it's nice to see him come out, take accountability, and not just like negativity, Marco. It shows confidence that he knows what he needs to change to be able to do it. So he's not just pointing out problems. He's not just complaining. He's actually giving solutions that he's going to work on the next week, which is great to hear.
No, yeah, absolutely, and it's going to keep growing. And locker rooms love that when someone takes accountability. Hey, it's my fault, even if it's not your fault. So as a coach, because I do coach high school basketball, as a coach, you want your players, your leaders, to take accountability even for the stuff they don't do, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, a great teammate is gonna if third makes a pass to his teammate drops the ball and it goes out of bounds. A great teammate is gonna, hey, my fault. I should have made the pass. Like my fault. Maybe I threw it too hard. Maybe I threw it too much to the right, to the left. And that's what he's doing right now. And that's something I love about Trey Lance and the growth that he's taken within his first 2 years of the NFL. That's something that is phenomenal for any coach to see. if you coach at any level, that's something that you're respecting the hell out of. So I love it.
And Kali Young, I love that you said this, Kali, because we want to end with a positive when it comes to Trey. Please talk about the layered throw to Ray Ray. That throw was gorgeous. Do you recall the throw that he's talking about, Marco?
Oh yeah, I recall the call. So it's a beautiful crossing route. Shout out to Ray Ray McLeod. Ran a nice route. But at the end of the day, the ball has to be thrown by someone. And it was put in between three players, right? Right over Raekwon Smith's hand, right in front of Eddie Jackson, a safety, and then the other corner on the top is breaking down at the same time. If that throw is missed by a margin, Eddie Jackson either breaks it up. Roquan, if it's thrown a little too low, Roquan pops it up. It's intercepted. And if he throws it too high, it's intercepted by that corner coming down. That was one of the best throws I've seen from a young quarterback. It might even be one of the better throws I've seen all week from the first week of NFL season. That throw, people don't understand how hard that throw is to not only layer it over a linebacker, but to fit it in between three defenders where there is no error. And a lot of people kept saying, I've argued with a lot of people saying, Trey Lance is not accurate. Trey Lance is not accurate. No, that's a big BS. It's a misconception. Trey Lance is a very accurate quarterback. Now, what he needs to work on is his intermediate throws and his checkdowns. That's all I've seen from Trey Lance. But when he's pushing the ball downfield, he is going to be an accurate quarterback. Another throw I would say is that was a very accurate throw. The one he hit on a crossing route, a wide open Brandon Ayuk, everyone kept saying, oh, he's not hitting these receivers in stride for yak. Hit him in stride for yak. Another one, if I kept saying if Brandon Ayuk would have ran that Jawan Jennings go route, that's a touchdown.
Right.
Deebo Samuel, that's a touchdown. That ball might be a little. We could nitpick and say ball's a little bit underthrown. One thing I would say is Jawan Jennings is not a fast guy. I would rather you underthrow that ball because he's a guy that could go up and win a 50-50 ball rather than overthrowing him, especially when he's that wide open. That is something that I did like seeing from Trey Lance. Those three plays on top of the Ross Dwelly play we just talked about a few minutes ago where he stepped up and rifled it in. I thought he had some beautiful throws on the day. Some of the throws were throws that we didn't see a lot of the quarterbacks that played for the 49ers in the past 20 years make.
I agree with you. Some of those, especially outside the hash, he seems very elite at those type of throws, which are some of the more difficult throws. For him, they tend to be the easier throws. Like you said, some of the things that are quote unquote easy are the things that he probably needs to get a little bit better at, which is good because those throws are easier to get good at. Harold Murillo, hello everyone. What's up, Harold? Thanks for jumping in. James Coombs, let's not forget that throw with horrible weather conditions during the game. Yeah, that actually increases the level of difficulty, right, Marco?